about our kicks. All right. How you guys doing? Ready to get rolling here?
Good, how are you?
Hey.
What do you want to see from Gino Sunday?
From Gino, just going out there and executing like we know we can. I think he's going to keep growing every time he takes the field and looking for that continued growth and development and finding his rhythm early on and get rolling from there.
The sacks on Monday night, what did you see on those? How much of that was Gino trying to make something happen? How much of it was protection? What did you see?
Yeah, I think a little bit of trying to make a little bit too much out of something that might not have been there on an initial read, and talking about that fine line of extending the play with our eyes down the field for a chance at a big explosive play off of it versus trying to get the ball out of our hands and save the down, especially in some of those scenarios where we're getting close to field goal range there. And then also just having that good communication up front where we have a chance to have a little bit more time. So really, like anything else, each week I'll come back to it where the sacks or the pressures come back to all 11, the receivers getting open in the rhythm of the play, getting in and out of the huddle in a timely fashion so we can communicate and be ready to roll. And then also when the play does break down, if it does, getting the ball out of our hands and not making a play that didn't work out exactly right worse.
What's the challenge of facing a team for a second week that's coming off their bye?
Yeah, I think, well, really something out of our control. So I know it's probably, in their minds they get that rest week rolling into it, but, it's not really something that we can change or take into account because we still got our guys. We're coming off a short week, so we had a good players' day off right after the game on Tuesday there for those guys to get a chance to recover. But I know, those guys really jumped right back in on their own, getting ready for the week and getting ready for Jacksonville, and that was our approach as well.
How much could they possibly change though? Like if they wanted to throw you off because they spent a week doing self-scouting and you got an extra time to install, how much could they realistically change that would be something you didn't expect?
I think there can always be tweaks, and that goes for every week, week to week, just like this past week, with some of the pressure packages or some of the things that you could see, and that's where just understanding and trust and rules, always has to play into it as you go into every week. And then also knowing that defenses are wanting to play fundamentally sound and good football, so they'll have their identity that, most of the time, week in and week out, they're sticking with. And it's our jobs to do a great job within each game of figuring out, is that pattern staying the same or is there a tweak or a nuance that's different for this week?
DK had the big catch early, obviously. Then I think
Yeah.
he didn't have another target until the fourth quarter. Was there some just kind of the way the game was going, or was there something they were doing to take him out of the game at all?
Yeah, I think there's with that stuff there. First of all, an incredible throw by Gino, incredible play by DK, being able to maintain his body balance after the catch and create an 84-yard explosive on a second and long. So starting with that, and then the O-line and Will Dissly, joining those guys in the protection part of that, all those things tying together. But then as the course of the game goes, talking about a bad weather wind game, trying to make sure that we're playing good complementary football. In that case, whatever the scenario is, whoever the team is you're playing, those are some of the circumstances that you got to deal with in those conditions right there. And when our ops came or chances to get the ball to him again, they didn't work out until later in the game. And we're going to keep trying to do a great job every single week of getting the ball in his hands because of the play opportunities that he can make once it is there.
Pete mentioned yesterday the center and how important it is kind of in your offense. Obviously, it's important in everybody's, but I guess what is the main, kind of with making the calls and things like that? How important is that when?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of the position, and both Kyle and Ethan have done a great job with that, and just maintaining that in-game communication. Because you nailed it. Like, what's the most important part of that position? It's getting everybody on the same page as quickly as we can once the huddle's broken, and that way we're targeted, we're ready to roll, and playing fast. So having a center that's a great communicator is really paramount to the position, and that's what those guys are continuing to learn and grow to do.
Is there something about your offense that makes that position and that role more important than it may be in other offenses?
I really can't speak to other offenses, but all the different systems I've been in, that's been a common theme. Where it goes back to John Sullivan or Austin Blythe, some of those different players in the past playing that position, which is what Kyle and Ethan are picking right up on. Is hey, they have to be the captain of the O-line in terms of the communication and getting everyone going in the same direction every play.
How did you feel the run game was Monday?
I thought it was just okay. I think there's always some room to improve. They did a good job hitting some of their run stunts, and it's a game like we talked about going into a a bad weather game with those conditions, knowing that we got to be able to run the ball consistently right there, and knowing that, hey, that was a great run defense that we were going up against, and there was going to be a little bit of a feeling of grinding it out against those guys. And I think we look back at the tape and everything else that goes into it, mainly about how we were going to hit some of those stunts that they were going on, that they were hitting against us, to try to get some of those runs more efficient, gaining a little bit more, trying to make some of those 2 or 3 yard gains into those 7, 8, 9 yard gains. And again, just something to keep learning from and growing from.
Anything else, guys?
Good to go. All right.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Thank you.